In this video, I'm gonna show you how to shop for meat at Costco. I know you guys love this place. You got the big shopping carts, all kinds of huge amounts of meat and fruit and all kinds of good stuff. So let me show you the best way to shop for meat here. We're gonna break it all down. We are starting in the steak section. So when it comes to steaks at Costco, there are no grass-fed steaks. All of these steaks are grain finished. And when you have grain finished steaks, it's still good for you. It's still full of nutrients. I just prefer a grass-fed steak. Not everybody likes the taste of that, but when you have a grain finishing of your steak, the cow is eating grains, and those grains can be sprayed with pesticides. There are gonna be more mold toxins, microplastics. We know that grass-fed beef has less of the bad things. That's not to say that grain finished meat is not good for you, just that, you know, grass-fed meat, I believe, is better. It's better for the environment. Regenerative agriculture works better when the cows are fed grass their whole lives. But let's get into the grain finished steaks. So this is basically what I ate entirely growing up. There were no grass-fed, grass-finished steaks growing up. And you have two choices here. You have USDA prime beef and USDA choice. So this is a set of New Yorks that are USDA prime. USDA prime is the highest grade for a grain-finished steak. Choice is the next one down. And the main difference here, you can see it better with this set of steaks, is that USDA prime beef is going to have more marbling in it. So the highest amount of marbling, that's intramuscular fat. That makes the steak taste better, but it might also be indicative of the fact that the cows are fed lots of grains and they're kind of accumulating fat in their muscles, suggesting they're not as metabolically healthy. So this is USDA choice New York steak, and it has less marbling. When it comes to steaks at Costco, they've got ribeyes, they've got New Yorks, they've got some tenderloins over there. And the steaks are affordable. I mean, this is a USDA prime ribeye steak. It's $19 a pound. Maybe it's not so affordable, but there's a way to get ribeyes cheaper that I'll show you in a second here. If you get the primal, if you get the whole huge piece of meat and you can cut it up. But again, we're talking about grain finished steaks here. If you want the most tender, most fatty grain finished steak, you want USDA prime. Let me show you guys the primals over here, these big cuts of meat. And this is the way to get a ribeye cheaper. You have to cut it yourself though. So here you've got a primal of a New York strip, and it's USDA prime, so it's the most marbled, and it's $17 a pound. So the whole thing is 220 bucks. Not super affordable. And believe me, in this video, I'm gonna get to much more affordable options in terms of ground beef. I'm just starting with steaks. Costco sells a USDA choice grade ribeye. So this is a beef ribeye, whole, boneless primal. This is $12.50. And I'm getting an arm pump just holding this thing. It's still $234. So if you want to spend your weekly allowance on one set of steaks and cut them up and put them in your freezer, you can save money that way. $12 a pound, but you're getting ribeye steaks. They're not grass-fed, but I mean, I think you get some cachet just walking out of the store with this. Like, it just feels cool. If you just walk out of the store with a piece of meat this big, you get points in my book. Show you guys a couple more options for steaks, for beef. They've got sirloin flap steak. I love this kind of cut of steak. It's very marbled, it's very tender. It's one of my favorite cuts. I actually like this more than ribeye in New York. Again, this is choice, so it's not grass-fed, but when I can find a grass-fed sirloin flap steak, I'm stoked. They've got some flank steak here. You can see it's much less marbled. It doesn't have a lot of intramuscular fat. This is a little tough for me. I don't really love flank steak, but this sirloin flap steak is $12 a pound. So it's cheaper than the New Yorks, it's cheaper than the ribeyes, and I think this stuff is amazing. You got some eye of round, which is basically what you're gonna grind into hamburger if you've got a grinder, or you're gonna cook that in a crock pot. You got some short ribs here, top round, pot roast. We're getting into more of the cuts of the steak that are a little less tender. You're gonna wanna cook them slow in the crock pot. And again, I'm just talking about beef today. They've got a whole aisle of pork over here. I'm not a huge fan of pork, guys. It's fed grains entirely through its life. There's really no such thing as grass-fed pork. That's really hard to find. I'd rather just eat beef than pork. And I'm not gonna talk about chicken in this video either, because I can spend a whole video talking about beef and how to shop for beef at Costco. But the chicken, I mean, most chicken is fed grains for its whole life. If you want some variety, fine, but you know that when you're eating chicken, you have to put sauce on it because it's kind of boring. If you're gonna eat chicken, I prefer the thighs. Maybe I can find some chicken thighs here, but none of it is gonna be as high quality as like an actual grass-fed beef. But they've got some tenderloins here on the end. Tenderloin is a nice tender cut, obviously, and they've got both prime, and choice. So you got a choice tenderloin. Again, now you're looking at like Christmas celebration stuff, $27 a pound. You got a prime tenderloin, $32 a pound, 140 bucks for like a tenderloin. That's 4 pounds. Like, that's just like date night kind of stuff. That's pretty pricey. You know, if you're really looking to impress your date, get a tenderloin, maybe get a grass-fed tenderloin, but that stuff is like celebration for the holidays. It's not super affordable meat. The good news is that Costco does have a lot of options when it comes to ground beef and ground meat, and I'm gonna show you the lamb. So I'm gonna show you guys some good options for ground beef and lamb, and you get much more affordable. And Costco actually has organic ground beef, and they have grass-fed ground beef. So I'll show you that over there. On the way to the lamb and beef, I wanna talk to you guys about fish for a second. A lot of fish today has high levels of heavy metals, microplastics, forever chemicals. I hate to be a downer, but I just wanna let you guys know what's up. If you wanna eat fish, fine, just check your heavy metal levels. If you feel good eating fish, more power to you. I don't eat fish right now. And I wanna talk to you about Atlantic salmon. You guys probably know this, but Atlantic salmon is entirely farm raised. It's not wild salmon, and Atlantic salmon has to be given coloring. So if you look at the labeling of Atlantic salmon, you can see that it says color added through feed. These fish are given coloring in the feed, or they would be white. So this salmon would be as white as this catfish fillet because it's farm raised. Wild salmon gets its color from the food they eat, but farm raised salmon is eating kind of like garbage pellets, and not actual garbage, but pellets, fish food, and they get added coloring. So if you're gonna eat fish, Atlantic salmon is really bad and not something you wanna be eating. You wanna be getting like a wild salmon. So all of this is Atlantic salmon here, no bueno. Let's go over, I'm gonna pass some wild salmon here. You can see the difference. That's a wild sockeye salmon. It has a much richer orange color, and this is not given coloring in its feed. This is totally different. So fish has a lot of problems today in terms of heavy metals, a lot of other contaminants. So I would not make the majority of your diet fish. If you're not eating meat, understand that meat is not bad for you. The reason you think red meat is harmful for you is because of multiple disinformation campaigns. There's really no good evidence that red meat is harmful for humans at all. Let's look at some other stuff here. Here's some lamb. Rack of lamb is one of my favorite things. I cook it in the oven for about 22 minutes at 425 degrees. You can see that it says it's a product of Australia. This is $14 a pound, so it's a little expensive, but it's great for impressing your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, whatever. Again, most lamb from Australia is grass-fed. So 90+% of lamb from Australia is grass-fed. There is a little bit of lamb in Australia that is not grass-fed, not grass-finished, but most lamb from Australia is grass-fed. So chances are this rack of lamb is grass-fed, which is good. So there's some grass-fed steaks at Costco that are potentially grass-fed. They've also got a boneless leg of lamb from Australia. Again, likely to be grass-fed. I just like lamb. It's a good thing to change up from beef. Let's go over here. We'll get some other things. Show you guys some ground beef options. So now we're getting into much more affordable. This ground beef, you guys might not believe this. The price per pound, $4.973. They're like a fraction of a penny here. You get 4 pounds of grass-fed, grass-finished beef. It's 85% lean, which I like. I like fat in my meat. It tastes good. There are many unique nutrients in animal fat that you should not fear. It's less than $5 a pound. So before, over there in those steaks, we were looking at steaks that were $12, $13 a pound, $18 a pound. This is less than $5 a pound, guys. So don't tell me eating healthy is too expensive. Next to it, they have organic ground beef. Organic ground beef means that the cow is fed grains, but those grains are organic. So this is not grass-fed beef. It says organic ground beef. That's not grass-fed. That is grain-finished beef, likely, but it's fed organic grains. The last thing I want to show you guys here is the ground beef. That's the most affordable thing here. You can see here it says 88% lean, 12% fat, and it's $4.59 a pound. So if you're really trying to pinch pennies, you can get grain-finished ground beef for even cheaper than the grass-finished beef. But if you're asking me, I'm paying an extra 39 cents a pound for a grass-finished ground beef versus a grain-finished ground beef. That's the only difference here at Costco. 40 cents a pound, guys. That's the difference between grain-finished ground beef and grass-finished ground beef at Costco. I'm gonna put those 40 cents into the grass-finished ground beef. I think it's much more healthy long-term. You're not getting any of the pesticides on the grains, any of the mold toxins, and you're hoping that that cow is fed grass its whole life on a field. It's pooping and peeing on the soil that's enriching the quality of the soil. So one last thing I'm gonna show you to end this video, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right, guys, so last thing I wanna show you is that they have another grass-fed option here. They have frozen grass-fed beef patties. You can get 1/3 pound patties. You can get 5 pounds of grass-fed beef patties. And this is $5.40 a pound. So still pretty darn affordable for grass-fed beef in the burgers. They don't have any grass-fed steaks here, but there are many options for grass-fed burgers. And you've got the option of the likely grass-fed lamb. And so there are lots of options for meat at Costco, guys. This is a great place to get meat if you want to save money. Again, I'm much more a fan of a grass-fed, grass-finished beef than a grain-fed beef, but do what works for your budget, for your finances. And listen, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Eating meat is healthy for you, no matter where it's coming from, but eat some organs with it. So don't just eat meat, eat a little bit of liver, eat a little bit of heart. And if you guys don't want to eat those organs fresh, you can always check out Heart and Soil Supplements. That is a desiccated organ company that I founded. I'll put a link here, heartandsoil.co. I take our whole package supplement every single day. It has testicle. I'm 47 years old and I feel really good in terms of libido, in terms of muscle strength, in terms of recovery. It makes me feel like I just want to go hit a punching bag or lift weights or surf. I love eating a little bit of desiccated testicle, the whole package supplement from Heart and Soil, but get fresh organs if you can. And hopefully this video at Costco has helped you navigate a little bit of prime versus choice, different steaks, grass-fed options versus lamb. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. Please like this video, please subscribe, please send it to people you think may benefit from it. If you guys want to see my full Costco haul, what I would get at Costco, I will put a link to that video here and you can check that one out as well. You can get totally black belt in terms of Costco from my perspective. See you guys later.